All right, welcome. Today we are going to tackle the wild world of cryptocurrency and create the ultimate no-nonsense guide. I know this whole topic can feel super complex, but I promise by the end of this, you're going to have a really clear way of thinking about what it is, how it actually works, and most importantly, why you should even care. So let's just dive right in.
Look, if you've ever tried to learn about crypto, you've probably felt like you were dropped into some kind of weird fever dream, right? It's just this constant storm of jargon, memes, and charts that are flying all over the place. It's totally okay to feel a little lost. Honestly, most people do. But let's try to look at it a different way. What if all that crazy jargon is just the instruction manual for the next version of the internet? What if getting a handle on crypto is like getting an early look at a massive tech shift that's already happening all around us? Yeah, that's how we're going to approach it today. So, first things first, let's talk about the why. Why do we even need crypto? See, to really get it, you can't start with the tech. You have to start with the problem it was built to solve. And that problem is what we call the middleman problem. Think about it. Pretty much every digital thing you do with money, every single time you tap your card to buy a coffee or use PayPal or Venmo a friend for pizza, there's always someone else in the middle of that transaction. A bank, Visa, some payment processor. They're all sitting there, quietly taking a cut and holding all the control. Here's a great way to picture it. Imagine you wanted to give a letter to your neighbor right next door, but instead of just walking over, you had to pay a giant corporation to come pick it up, fly it to another state, and then deliver it back to your neighbor's house. It sounds completely insane, right? Well, that's kind of how our digital money system works right now.
And this right here is crypto's first big aha moment. It allows for true peer-to-peer transactions. It's basically digital cash. It's like handing someone a $20 bill. There's no bank in the middle that has to say, okay, you can do that. It's just you and the other person. Direct, fast, and efficient.
Okay, so if crypto is the car that lets us drive around without a middleman, what's the engine that makes the whole thing run? Well, that brings us to the core technology behind everything, the blockchain. And of course, its most famous creation, Bitcoin. Now, forget all the super complicated diagrams you might have seen. The absolute easiest way to think about a blockchain is to just picture a giant, shared Google Doc. Everyone in the world can see it, but it has one very, very special rule. You can only add new lines to it. You can never, ever go back and change or delete something that's already been written. It's a permanent, unerasable record. So the big question is, who controls this Google Doc? And this is the magic part. The answer is nobody, and also everybody. Instead of one company like Google owning the master copy, thousands of computers all over the world have their own identical copy. And before any new transaction gets added, they all check with each other to make sure nobody's trying to cheat the system. That's decentralization. It's how the network creates trust without needing a bank. And that system is exactly what Bitcoin uses to create what people now call digital gold. Why gold? Well, because it's scarce, right? You can't just print more gold whenever you want. Bitcoin is exactly the same. Its code says there will only ever be 21 million of them. Period. That's it. It's money that's secured by math instead of by governments, which is why so many people see it as a way to store their wealth. For a long time, when people said crypto, they just meant Bitcoin. But that was just chapter one. The next big step was when people took that core idea of the blockchain and asked a really powerful question. Okay, what else can we build with this? And that question opened up a whole new universe of possibilities. And that brings us to the next big player, Ethereum. So if Bitcoin is like digital gold, a really secure savings account, then you can think of Ethereum as the iPhone. It's a platform. It's like a giant global computer where developers can build all sorts of applications on top of it. It's not just for storing money, it's for doing things with money. So how does it do that? With something called smart contracts. Honestly, just think of a smart contract as a digital vending machine. Let's say you want to buy a house. Instead of needing lawyers and escrow agents, you just code the rules into a contract. Like, if the buyer puts the money in, then the contract automatically gives them the digital deed to the house. The code just runs the agreement. No people need it. Of course, you've probably seen that the price of things like Bitcoin and Ether can swing around like crazy. That makes it tough to use for everyday stuff. And that's where stablecoins come into play. The best way to think of them is like casino chips. You trade in your cash for chips that have a stable value inside the casino, right? Well, stablecoins are just like that for the crypto world. They're always worth $1, giving you a safe place to hang out when the market gets choppy. Okay, now let's get into the stuff you've probably seen all over the news. The world of digital art collectibles, and that absolute roller coaster of market psychology that goes with it. You've heard about NFTs, and you probably think they're just, really expensive JPEGs of monkeys. But that's kind of missing the whole point. An NFT, a non-fungible token, isn't the picture itself. It's a unique, impossible-to-forge token on the blockchain that acts like a digital certificate of authenticity. It proves you own the real thing. Let me put it this way. Anybody can right-click and save a picture of the Mona Lisa, just like anyone can buy a cheap $5 reprint of a super rare baseball card. But the blockchain, for the first time in history, lets us prove, without a doubt, who owns the one single verifiable original in the digital world. That's what an NFT actually does. And hey, if you're going to dip your toes in these waters, you gotta learn the language. A bull market, that's when prices are charging up. A bear market is when they're going down. FOMO, fear of missing out, that's that panicky feeling that makes you buy at the absolute worst time. HODL means hold on for dear life, don't panic sell. And whales, those are the huge investors who can move the entire market with just one trade. Okay, let's hit pause for a second. We've gone over a lot of really cool technology, but what I'm about to tell you is, without a doubt, the single most important part of this entire explainer. This is all about security, and it all boils down to one golden rule. You are your own bank. I mean it. This is the big trade-off. You get all this freedom from the middlemen, but with it comes total and absolute personal responsibility. There's no customer service number you can call. There is no "I forgot my password" button. You are in complete and total control. And that control is all wrapped up in something called a seed phrase. It's a list of 12 or 24 random words you get when you set up a crypto wallet. And please, do not think of this like a password. You need to think of it as the literal physical key to a safe that is holding your life savings. Because of that, there are only 2 rules that you ever need to remember. That's it. Just 2. Rule number 1, never, ever share your key with anyone. I don't care who they say they are. If you do, your money is gone. Rule number 2, never lose your key. Write it down, put it somewhere safe. If you lose it, your funds are locked away forever. There is no getting them back. And that really brings us to the big idea behind all of this. When you zoom out from the technology and the charts, the entire crypto movement is really about a massive shift in who or what we trust. For our entire history, we've trusted institutions, banks, governments, companies. Crypto offers a different path, trusting in open, verifiable math and code instead. Look, there's no question that this space is still the Wild West. It's risky, it is definitely wild, and it's still so new. But the core ideas, getting rid of middlemen, having provable ownership of digital things, and a financial system run by code, those ideas are really powerful. So the real question isn't whether it's going to be a bumpy ride. The question we're left with is this technology here to stay? And that is for you to decide.